I'm 100+ years old. This one habit changed my life. Before this story begins, let me ask you something simple. If you believe that life can change at any age, please take a second to like this story. And if you want to hear more real-life inspired stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. It truly means more than you think. My name is Albert. I am 103 years old today. I've lived through wars, recessions, heartbreaks, miracles, betrayals, and moments so beautiful that even now they make my chest feel warm. People often ask me the same question. Albert, what is the secret to a long and happy life? For most of my life, I didn't know the answer. I thought happiness was something you chase. A better job, more money, a bigger house, the right partner, the perfect timing. But at 100 years old, I finally understood something that took me a lifetime to learn. And it all came down to one habit. Let me take you back. I was born in 1921 in a small town where everyone knew everyone. My father was a carpenter, my mother a school teacher. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor either. What we had was simple food, simple dreams, and simple problems. As a child, I was curious about everything. I wanted to travel, to be important, to leave a mark on the world. When I turned 18, the world was already changing fast. Soon after, war came. I lost friends before I even understood what death really meant. I remember standing in a field once, hearing bombs in the distance and thinking, if I survive this, I'll live differently. But like most people, when I did survive, I slowly forgot that promise. After the war, I worked hard, very hard. I became an engineer. I married a wonderful woman named Rose. We had 2 children. On the outside, my life looked perfect. Inside, I was always in a hurry, always stressed, always planning the next step. I missed dinners, I missed school events, I missed quiet mornings. I told myself I was doing it for my family, but in truth, I was addicted to the future. Rose used to tell me, Albert, you're always somewhere else even when you're here. I laughed it off. I thought that was just how successful people lived. Then one day, when I was 52, Rose died suddenly from a stroke. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. That day broke something inside me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just silently. I kept working. I kept smiling. But I felt like I was watching my own life from far away. I realized something terrifying. I had spent decades preparing for a future that no longer existed. Years passed. The children grew up and moved away. Friends slowly disappeared, one funeral at a time. My body aged, but my mind stayed busy. I filled my days with routines, television, newspapers, small talk. I was alive, but I wasn't really living. On my 100th birthday, my grandson asked me a question that changed everything. He said, Grandpa, are you happy? I wanted to say yes, but the truth stuck in my throat. I wasn't sad. I wasn't depressed. But I wasn't truly happy either. I was just existing. That night I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and thought about my entire life. All the rushing, all the worrying, all the moments I had postponed joy for later. And that's when I realized the one habit I had missed my entire life. The habit was this: being fully present in small moments. Not thinking about tomorrow. Not replaying yesterday. Just being here. Now. Completely. The next morning I tried something different. I sat in my chair by the window and drank my tea slowly. I didn't check the news. I didn't think about my age. I just watched the sunlight hit the leaves. I noticed how warm the cup felt in my hands. I listened to the birds. For the first time in years, my mind was quiet. That moment felt better than any promotion I ever got. So I kept doing it. When I walked slowly and noticed the world. When I ate, I tasted the food instead of rushing. When I talked to people, I truly listened instead of waiting to speak. And something strange happened. Life became richer, even though it became simpler. I laughed more. I slept better. I felt lighter. I stopped needing big achievements to feel valuable. I started appreciating ordinary things: a phone call, a smile from a stranger, the sound of rain. I realized that happiness was never hiding in the future. It was always in the present, waiting for my attention. At 101, I made new friends at a local park. At 102, I started writing letters again, just for fun. At 103, I feel more alive than I did at 60. People think long life is about diet, exercise, or genetics. Those matter, yes. But the real reason I feel happy now is because I finally stopped mentally living somewhere else. Most people don't suffer because their life is bad. They suffer because they are never actually inside their life. They're always thinking about what went wrong or what might go wrong. I wasted decades doing that. If I could go back and tell my younger self one thing, it would be this. Albert, slow down. This moment is your life, not the next one. Now when I wake up, I don't ask, what do I need to achieve today? I ask, what can I appreciate today? And that one habit changed everything. Not money, not success, not fame, just presence. I'm 103 years old. My body is weaker. My memory fades sometimes. But my heart is calmer than it has ever been. I no longer chase happiness, I notice it. As the days passed, I started to notice something else too. When I became more present, people around me also changed. Or maybe they didn't change at all. Maybe I was finally seeing them properly for the first time. The young nurse who comes every morning to check my blood pressure used to feel like just another routine part of my day. Before, I barely looked at her face. Now I ask her how her day is going. I remember her name. I listen to her stories about her studies, her dreams, her worries. And suddenly, my morning feels meaningful, not mechanical. Presence has a strange power. It turns ordinary people into stories and ordinary moments into memories. I used to think loneliness came from being alone. But I learned that loneliness actually comes from not being connected, even when people are around you. For years, I sat in rooms full of people while my mind was somewhere else. Now I can sit alone and feel full because I am truly with myself. At this age, time feels different. When you are young, you think time is endless. When you are old, you realize every day is a gift, not a guarantee. That realization could be terrifying. But somehow being present makes it peaceful instead. I no longer rush days away. I let them arrive. Some mornings my knees hurt too much to walk. Some days my hands shake when I try to write. But instead of getting angry at my body, I thank it. It carried me for a century. It owes me nothing. Gratitude is another thing that quietly grew out of presence. When you pay attention, you naturally start appreciating. You realize how many things are still right even when many things are gone. I lost my wife. I lost friends. I lost youth. But I didn't lose the ability to feel. That is a miracle most people forget they still have. Sometimes I sit with old photo albums. I don't feel regret anymore. I feel understanding. I see a young man trying his best with the knowledge he had. I forgive him for rushing. I forgive him for missing things. He didn't know better. Now I know better. One afternoon, my grandson visited again. He watched me water the plants slowly, one by one. He said, "Grandpa, you move like you have all the time in the world." I smiled and said, "No, I move like I finally understand how little time there is." That's the difference. When you realize time is limited, you either panic or you start paying attention. Most people panic. I did for years. But presence taught me to do the second. I stopped needing life to be impressive. I just needed it to be real. Even pain feels different now. When sadness comes, I don't fight it. I sit with it. I breathe. I let it pass through me like weather. I learned that emotions don't destroy you. Resistance does. At this age, I cry more easily. But I also smile more deeply. I cry because I feel. I smile because I feel. That's the trade. If you are listening to this and you are young, please don't wait 100 years to learn this. You don't need to lose everything to start appreciating something. Put your phone down sometimes, look at the person in front of you, listen without planning your reply, walk without rushing, eat without distraction, sit without noise. Your life is happening in those quiet spaces. Not in notifications, not in achievements, not in comparisons, in moments. Now, every night before I sleep, I ask myself one simple question. Where was I truly present today? And no matter how small the answer is, a conversation, a sunrise, a laugh, I sleep peacefully. Because I know I didn't miss my life that day. That's the real secret I learned after 100 years. Not how to live longer, but how to actually live.